Igoreza. This is a video response to you and your solicitation for a debate, although I really think you mean dialogue or constructive meeting of the heads between the people on YouTube who profess Satanism as a way of life, religion, philosophy, etc. So you had wanted us all to get together and make video responses to you about how we understood Satan and how we understood Satanism. Well, since I've already made a boatload of videos detailing exactly who I think the master is, what I think he's the master of, how the current is progressing, and what exactly it entails, I'm not really going to get into a whole lot of that, but what I want to deal with is the variety of different or divergent understandings of the term Satanism and how I relate to those. Let me just say that the master isn't like the one God. He doesn't need people to all march lockstep, believe exactly the same thing, do exactly the same thing, act exactly the same way, dress exactly alike. No. He doesn't really care what we think, what we do, how we live, etc., because he's actually going to accomplish what he needs to get accomplished, regardless of whether we're working with him or whether we're working against him. Because we really can't overcome the inevitability of the current. The Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, they've all been trying to do this for thousands of years, and they just keep getting overturned. They just keep getting destroyed in their ways, because even when they're acting as strongly as they can in line with their faith, they can't help but fight each other. And that actually is working for the master. So it's like he doesn't really need everybody to all get along. In fact, the conflict is a manifestation of his adversarial energy, which only seeks to make things better from what they were. So we can either understand that and work alongside it, or we can be in many degrees of ignorance of that and still be working for it. So how I understand Satanism is, it's kind of like a gradation of belief systems. And at the top, at the highest point, is you have the adept or the magus who really understands the current and who's really in tune with it and who's really working towards its expression. But he understands, he or she understands, that they really, as an individual, are only but a cog in the wheel. And so this is somebody who's achieved gnosis. This is somebody who really understands things and understands their small place in the scheme, which is inevitable. And that's like the highest manifestation of a Satanist, or somebody who really, really understands the current of the master. But below that, you have a lot of different types of people who still perceive themselves to be on the side of the master, but some way or another go a little bit wrong in understanding what the current is, or exactly how it's manifesting, or maybe a little bit too literal on this or a little bit too symbolic on that. But it doesn't really matter. It's like I'm saying, he'll get his stuff done regardless of how people choose to perceive him. The diversity itself is the strength. Diversity is the strength of the master. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's key to understanding how I approach the different types of people that classify themselves as Satanists. I'm not going to sit here and cry gallons and gallons and gallons of fucking tears about how this guy doesn't go along with my understanding of the master. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't matter to the master. It's because I understand the current deeply that I can say that. I don't have to make everybody share dogmas with everybody else as if that's going to somehow, like we have to achieve satanic unity, like we're going to go out and march in some kind of battle array against the fucking forces of the one God. That's not how it's going to be done. He uses divide and conquer tactics because division is actually weakness to the one God, but strength to the master, because that division engenders diversity, which engenders better and better things. And I hope that makes it kind of clear why I, on the one hand, can be highly dogmatic in my own approach, but on the other hand, I don't really give that big a shit about people that don't hold my specific understandings. They're not killing me. In fact, they're on the same side. It's like atheists. They're on our side. They just don't perceive the totality of the current, that's all. But they're still working for the master. So I'm not going to sit here and try to convert anybody. I could really care less. If people achieve that level of gnosis or not, it doesn't really matter. The master's going to get his stuff done regardless. If you become all dogmatic, you're working for him. If you break those dogmas down and achieve the real freedom of thought and freedom of equanimity of being, then you're working for the master. It's like no matter what you do, no matter how you live your life, you're working for the master. It's just whether or not you understand that and to what degree you understand that. And what I would say is the real and true Satanist understands that more deeply than anyone else. And that's what the mark of the real and true Satanist is. Gnosis, understanding the current, being in tune with the current. But whether you are or not, his will is going to be done.